and welcome to Squad, your favorite source for everything esports and gaming. I'm Lisa Duan, and as usual, we have a lot of great things planned for you tonight. Marissa and Brody are back, debating and bringing you the latest in Unmuted, and then in Esports in 30, it's Rocket League Day. But before we get to all that good stuff, we want to kick it off with a segment we call Rank It. And tonight, we're ranking the best sports games.
Temperature heating up, we decided to take a look back at some of our favorite sports games. Right off the bat, we're hitting you with the classic Ken Griffey Jr. Presents Major League Baseball. Before San Diego Studio took over the baseball game genre, Nintendo took a crack at a few games and hit gold with this one. You wouldn't recognize all the names though because Nintendo was unable to get the rights to any of the MLB players. Instead, they used nicknames of former players, pop culture icons, and historical figures, which is a genius solution.
Play ball.
Next up, Tiger Woods PGA Tour 2003. The 11th installment of the PGA Tour games is widely renowned as the best golf game ever, mostly due to its fluid animation and attention to detail. This game provides hours of content from drop and play to a full career mode. Golfer, gamer, somewhere in the middle, everyone can find something to enjoy with this. Smashing through the window and landing at spot number 3, we have none other than Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. After the success of the first Pro Skater game, the developers had a few tricks up their sleeves, adding character creation, customizable signature moves, park editor mode, and the option to play as Spider-Man. An ever-evolving franchise, FIFA releases a new game annually equipped with an updated roster, graphics, and a few new game features. However, no game in the series has been quite as impressive or enjoyable as FIFA 12. The upgraded AI and brand new defense mechanics made the gameplay a welcome challenge to seasoned fans, while the variety of online and offline game modes gave players an overwhelming amount of options. With these new features, it seemed that EA had struck the perfect balance of arcade and realistic gameplay. Things are heating up, but before we move on to our winner, it's time for an honorable mention. One of the best games to exhibit a true arcade feel, NBA Jam TE improved on its predecessor, coining terms such as "he's heating up" and "boom shakalaka."
Boom shakalaka!
It's hard to find a game this iconic or widely enjoyed. Claiming the gold on this list is NHL 94. With the iconic blue ice and star markers, it is regarded as the best sports game. There are still tournaments that are held for NHL 94 and a group of cult followers that even go far enough as to mod versions of NHL 94 to include the modern-day rosters, including player ratings every year. That's the kind of loyalty that all diehard sports fans have to respect. We got your gaming and esports hot topics, hot tweets, the spiciest memes. I'm Marissa Roberto.
And I am Brody Moore, and this is how the show is going to work. We're going to present all the goodies we've gathered, in which we will discuss and most likely argue, but luckily for all of us, there's a wonderful mute button we can press to shut each other up when we need to.
Oh, yes, and it might actually get used today, so shout out to chat. We like it when you call us out when we're wrong and praise us when we're spitting all the truth. So let's get to it. For our first topic, the most famous gamer on the planet is looking to be known for more than just Fortnite. In an interview with the Los Angeles Times, Ninja spoke about how he wants to be known for more than just being the Fortnite guy. In particular, Ninja wants to be remembered one day as the grandfather of gaming, in that he opened the door to making streaming just as viable a career choice as being an actor or a pro athlete. So, Brody, I already feel his negativity. Like, I feel it. It's his aura. He has negative things to say about Ninja. But do you feel like he should be known for more than just being the Fortnite guy, and maybe given some credit for making this a viable career?
The grandfather of gaming? Get out of your head, dude. Jesus. Like, the grandfather of gaming? So many more people deserve that title above you. You just happen to be streaming a game that got popular and kids watched you. So, like, what did you do in particular that anybody else couldn't have done? Not much, really. Okay, you know what, maybe he did make his stream PG so he didn't swear so the kids could watch. There, we'll give him that. But beyond that, what did you, like, the grandfather of gaming? Gosh dang, that's just dumb.
Yeah.
But if you want to be known as more than the Fortnite guy, stream something else.
He does.
Something to do that. Yeah, but
He does. He's been playing more.
do it. Don't
lately.
just tell people to start. You can't just say, call me this, without doing anything about it.
To be fair, listen, when there is a print article of anything, any kind of interview that happens and it comes out in print, it does kind of make the person in the interview, like, there's always some backlash about it because the person being interviewed always kind of sounds, maybe comes off a certain way because we're assuming their cadence in our mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, listen, I've done print interviews before and I always read them back and I think, oh my God, this girl sounds like a friggin' idiot. Straight up. Because you don't have, it's just the way that I speak, and then when it translates to print, it just doesn't, I don't come across like the smartest person in the room.
Well,
so
you don't do that when you're talking anyways.
Why do I set you up like that? So maybe it kind of doesn't work in Ninja's favor to do some of these print interviews because every single one that he's done now, there's been backlash about it, right? And yeah, I do agree with you about the grandfather of gaming thing. Obviously, it should not apply to him, especially the gaming term, because that gaming is like a big, huge bubble. There's so many different lanes, so many different avenues to go down in gaming. So gaming as a career, maybe on Twitch, not really, because there was a bunch of people before him, but I guess he brought it to the light in the mainstream.
I'm not going to take away his credibility for the things he's done. He's done some things. Yeah. You're not the goddamn grandfather of gaming. Get over yourself. Moving on.
My goodness.
Tifu's duo's partner, Cloak, is in talks with FaZe Clan about his future contract. Cloak said in a stream that due to Tifu's ongoing legal action in his own contract, he can't go into detail on what he's talking with them about. He has publicly said that he wants to keep playing with Tifu, which FaZe might not allow considering the lawsuit. Whether that means he'll leave FaZe to play with his partner remains to be seen. Marissa, what should he do in this situation? This is really tough.
It's so tough because we don't know the legalities. We don't know what's been said. We don't know what's going on behind the scene. I'm a little triggered though with Banks just in some of the moves he's made, and even like the video that was posted yesterday. I don't know if you saw, like he was giving out chains to like diamond necklaces or something to like a bunch of players that were around him, but like he had the only like actual FaZe Clan chain, and then he was giving, because they partnered with Champion, so it had like the Champion logo in the chain. So it's just like he's giving it to them to promote their big time partner, so he can get more money out of it. Like there's just a lot of like little insidious things that are happening here within this world, maybe perhaps within this organization, and maybe Cloak is seeing this now too. So I don't know. There's just so much going on that we have no idea, and we're all just making assumptions at this point.
That's what I'm saying. If Cloakzy's got no problem with this, like then I don't get, like, that. It just makes me believe more and more that FaZe isn't the bad guy in this whole situation.
No, but how?
Because like otherwise he would be public about this as well too, right?
Well, no, because
or he's just an idiot and signed
Brody,
a good contract,
no,
right? But
listen, if you're part of an organization and you're getting paid all kinds of bank and they're treating you well, why would you turn on them? You know, even if they are doing like maybe some insidious stuff, or maybe their contracts aren't really the greatest, and maybe they do take a lot from their players, but they've also given them a leg up, and you feel loyal to this brand. Like, and so many people are obsessed with you now because of this brand, because it has that kind of power. We just don't know what goes on in their minds, right? So the fact that they've received so much fame and popularity from this exact logo, they don't want to leave that logo because that logo gives them life and brings them all kinds of bank.
So would it hurt right now for him to leave alongside Tfue and like go with, or just go solo even without an org?
Listen, it would be a power move. It would be a huge power move for them both to leave and then team up and maybe start their own thing together, and maybe some other, it's a domino effect, maybe some others will follow. We don't know, because we don't know how, that's the thing too, is that when, we're right out of time. All right, in 2019, LEC Summer Split is just a few days away, and Rogue has made some big changes to its roster. How big are these moves? How about promoting its entire academy team to the LEC? Rogue has slowly promoted players from its academy squad to the main team over the past 5 months, but most have joined in the past few weeks. For reference, Rogue ended the spring split in last place and has not signed any free agents to its roster in the short offseason. Brody, do you think this is a good strategy? Like, do you think, I don't know, throwing, like just promoting up players from their academy team is a good idea instead of maybe drafting some players that have already been in it for a minute?
I mean, I don't know anything about League of Legends, so I can't speak to their particular
team. You know a lot about League of Legends.
Barely, but like I can't speak to their particular academy. I definitely don't know anything about their academy team.
Yeah.
So whether it's like maybe these guys are just actually really good and they believe, well, obviously they believe in them, but I guess I could talk more generically on like, you know, is it good to put, you know, unvetted rookies into a scene like this? That's tougher, because like we've seen it in so many esports where like players are so good online, you know, those bedroom warriors, they're so good at playing on these online tournaments, but when it translates to the stage, that's a whole different story. I mean, we've all been in esports events, and it's like when you're in those tournaments and like the crowd is roaring, it changes absolutely everything.
For sure, but maybe this is Rogue's way of getting them prepared for just a life in this world, a life at LAN. So why not? Yeah, he keeps moving the desk on me. Just a life at LAN, right? So you're the worst. I do think that there is something to it. Like, obviously they're not going to, nobody expects them to perform incredibly well because it's the academy team facing off the big boys.
That's the thing, is like they're going in with low expectations, so that's kind of in their favor as well, because their team was literally last. Like their actual like vets couldn't do it, so like I don't think anyone's expecting them to do anything huge here. They got really nothing to lose at this point, so I feel like you might actually have, this actually might be good, because if you put like an actual vet onto the team to help walk them through a lot of this, they get a coach to do that. I think behind the scenes the coach will say, be prepared for this, this, and this. If they put an actual pro in there, the pro might try to take charge and have too much structure, whereas I think maybe this lack of structure, just running in there, letting these guys have a, you know, just kind of a have-at-her, I feel like that actually really could help Rogue here. Nothing to lose, going full gusto.
And they have a relationship already because they played together before, just in the academy. So, I mean, why not give it a shot? Also, maybe Rogue is saving some money by not having to sign or do anything outside of that. So, I mean, it's all about the money. Remember that, people.
On to another org. Cloud9 has signed a brand new deal with Puma to produce a full apparel and footwear collection for its teams later this year. The deal, which is rumored to be worth millions of dollars, will see Cloud9 gear sold at Puma stores around the world.
Wow.
The only issue with the deal are that Puma can't produce either League of Legends jerseys or Overwatch gear due to existing contracts. But it is another sign that esports and fashion are getting closer and closer together.
Yeah.
Because we know the nerds sometimes don't know how to dress properly.
Well,
I mean, okay, just give me your take
not
right
true.
now on esports fashion. Because I
don't
got some
think
thoughts too.
I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with it. I think that
Okay.
people dress comfortable because they need to. I don't know. I don't think there is like an esports fashion at the moment. There have been companies that have put out jersey dresses for women to wear, which will never happen. I just don't. Maybe there needs to be some kind of fashionable something in place. I'm just not a fashion person. I think Lisa's more the person to ask about that.
I like the idea that you're going to start seeing Cloud9 jerseys and stuff in like Puma stores.
For sure.
That's really cool. That is a branch out.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas I don't think it really needs to go the other way. Like we don't particularly have to force any kind of like fashion or dress in esports. The only issue I do have with esports fashion right now is a lot of the pros are wearing their stupid they're like designer sweatpants. You know, like they all got the same sweatpants on that like taper down at the bottom, and then they're wearing like their Yeezys, like these big boat shoes. And I just think it's, like they look like they're wearing what like a professional athlete for a traditional sport would wear when they're getting ready to play, not when they're playing, right? Like it constantly looks like these esport pros are about to get ready to play, like they're warming up still, but they're walking up on stage in front of millions of people.
Yeah, so you're saying there should be more of a uniform. You want to see a uniform in place because they have their jerseys on the top. You want to see a uniform on the bottom for all the players. You want
it looks like they woke up out of bed, threw on some sweats, and then their jersey, and that's it. Like it doesn't look like you came prepared to play half the time.
But their preparedness doesn't need to relate to what they're wearing on their bottoms. Like, and even a lot of them are wearing slides up there too. Like they just want to be comfortable. Some of them just gaming their bare feet too. Like I mean, it's gross, obviously.
I get being comfortable, but sweats is a little much, you know? Like, I don't know. I just have an issue with sweats being like fashionable in the first place. You see like university kids doing this too. I hate it, man.
It's all about comfort though, man.
No, it's
just
about presenting yourself in public.
But look at you right now. You present yourself in public like this every day and nobody bats an eye.
Oh wow, that's real good insight. Good one. Wow, oh my God.
Okay, it's time to check in with streamers and clip it. Let's set the scene for our first clip. Josh from Method's World of Warcraft rating team flew one of his viewers to visit and possibly go see a concert with him. It went as awkwardly as you might expect.
With knowing he means
Except for the
stalking them on their Instagrams, he doesn't talk to them. The most intimate he would get to them I wanking to their pictures.
I mostly just masturbate to pornography, not to girls' Instagram photos. I never did to your Instagram photos. Not that it matters, I guess.
I feel like he tried to play off a joke and then they just didn't get it. It just fell flat. You gotta read the room sometimes.
Yeah, I think there's something wrong with, I mean, if you're gonna do it, that's fine. I guess it happens all the time in sports and it happens in esports too, but like when there's it just, the insidious behavior, I feel like it's insidious when you like talk to a fan of yours and you kind of like manipulate that relationship to get them to come see you. I don't like that. I feel like it's kind of icky.
No one said that it was manipulating.
No, it's a little icky because you're using your fame and the reason that this person likes you and reveres you for your fame to get them to come and hang out with you. And I guess it happens with famous people all the time, so you know, there's nothing we can do to stop it, but it's a little
not really
icky.
fair to the famous person then, saying that they can't hang out with anyone ever, so now they have to live in isolation. That's not fair to them.
No, but it puts them up on this platform.
But you automatically assume that they're abusing.
But you see how like his ego came into play there. Like he was just talking about whatever.
He was joking.
Yeah.
I presume if he wasn't, that's kind of creepy. But like, I just presume like that was a joke that fell flat. He didn't read the room.
Okay, but Brody, you've had fans DM you before. Okay, you've had fans DM you before.
Yeah, I leave all my DMs, everything open because I like to be connected to people.
Yeah, so you've had and you've maybe started relationships with girls via these DMs, and like where did those relationships go? Because they put you on a pedestal in some way, and then they meet you in real life, and they're like, oh well, now what?
I mean, like, I don't just fly people out. I'm not that rich. I ain't making World of Warcraft money. But no, I don't know. Half my friends are online friends, right?
Yeah,
and then I meet them eventually.
But don't you feel a certain way about it? Like you have to be this guy because they think you're that guy?
No, because I don't see myself as that guy. So I just go in as a regular dude, and then they realize I'm a regular dude, And they're like, oh, you're actually pretty chill. And then we hang out as regular people.
Okay.
Don't assume people's motives.
Okay.
Our next clip comes from Bonsai, who just wanted to eat at a restaurant alone.
Haidilao is really expensive because they have like really good service. And Gloria told me that, oh my god, I'm dying.
So do they just bring that to anybody? I'm going to that restaurant. Like, I don't know. It kind of singles you out.
sweet.
It kind of singles you out. Like, you don't have friends. But
I
like,
guess.
I don't know. I want to go to a restaurant that brings me a giant teddy bear. Do I get to keep the teddy bear?
No.
Or is it just like
No, I
kind of
think-
companion?
I think, yeah,
that's
it's
okay
just like
still.
a-
You know what? That's all right.
Yeah, it's a feels bad teddy bear.
I'd still go. I would now go to that place solo on purpose to hang out with a
Just
teddy
hanging out
bear.
with a teddy bear, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's great for the stream too. If you're a IRL streamer and you just want to like
Yeah.
have a fake conversation with a teddy bear, like why not? It could be content.
Yeah, I like it.
Here we
I'm
are
going.
talking about it right now. Listen, it truly is the best time of day where we scroll the Twitters to bring you all the things the pros bless us with on their timeline. Variety Esports host Frankie was recently shooting some content with a player for Dreamhack to use over the weekend. She posted a photo to her Instagram and of course, you people with the comments. She clears it up with just FYI, because somebody sent her, you're gonna date an esports player? And she just replies, no. Y'all, just because a girl is being nice and is doing her job doesn't mean she wants to date you,
It
okay?
goes both ways. Just-
Enough of these questions.
That's the issue. Is like a lot of people like talk to like someone working at retail or whatever,
Yeah.
or like a server or a waiter or whatever, and then people assume just because you're being nice, you're flirting. It's like no, you realize they're
my
being
job.
paid to be nice and smile right now.
For sure, but also like think of just a base level of professionalism, okay? Like you shouldn't be fraternizing. Like if you're a host or an analyst or whatever it is, you're part of the production for something in esports. Like fraternizing with players is just a bad look. Like it's unprofessional. And Frankie is a professional, and I just don't. What do you mean you don't know?
I mean, I'm friends with like all the Rocket League guys.
No, fraternizing in a relationship type of way.
Well, I mean, a relationship just means you know someone.
You know what I mean, Brody. Obviously, they're
Be
talking
clear.
about dating. Are you
Oh.
are you dating any of the players?
Am I dating any of the players?
Yeah.
No, because then I'd actually have money. If I was.
Why do I even talk to you? Why do I even talk to you?
Because they pay you to.
Okay.
One of the reasons I want to live long enough is to play Rocket League longer and better than ever. What about you, Mewtwo King? One of the reasons I want to live a long time is to watch more good animes. Yeah, that's real talk. Yeah. Why say many word when little do good? Like just
When
straight.
you were do good, yeah.
Like straight up, like, I'm with him. Like there's not enough time in this world to see all the good animes out there.
Yeah,
Like
okay.
the longer you live, the more animes you can watch. I'm
That's
down.
fair. I mean, just all of that.
That's
Any
real talk.
streaming service, watching anything.
There's not much more we could dive into that. It's just real talk.
I
Straight
love that.
up.
The real talk from the Melee community. Listen, our last profound thought is from our good Canadian boy, Rainbow Six Pro Fox A, who is honestly just truth spitting. Everyone with anime profile pics have no chill. Speaking of anime, yo, he's not wrong though. You guys need to get your ish together.
Can I?
Get it together.
I ran into a bit of a confliction.
Oh, let's hear it.
So you know how we
Yes.
talked about it one time, I think, about like you can't take people's opinions seriously if they have their Twitter profile pictures and anime
Yes,
picture.
yes.
Elon Musk, one of my idols, changed his picture to an anime photo.
But I think it
at
was a
one point.
troll. It
But
was
like
a
that, yeah, that's almost next level because it's just like he can kind of just do what he wants.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's like I ran into confliction. I'm like, no, don't do this to me. Now I have this cognitive dissonance in my mind and I don't know what's going on anymore.
No,
But-
he did it to troll, obviously, because a lot of people that troll him have anime pics.
Yeah.
So he just did it to get back.
But yeah, real talk. It's just people because like the anonymity.
Anonymity. I know it's tough for us to
It was hard.
say.
Yeah. Because the anime pic, they just go off. They don't give a crap what you think about them.
But it's weird how it's related to mostly anime pictures. And I like started to have a thought, like, okay, so wait.
You actually had a thought?
Shut up, Brody, dang it! No, because you love showing me that Re-Kid.
Yeah, I
That
love Re-Kid.
Re-Kid, right? And he's always like, he's so loud and obnoxious. And I'm thinking, like, what if this guy also has an anime pic? Because
Probably does.
Because he talks about hentai in one of the clips,
Yeah.
right? He's like, no, hentai. So I'm just wondering, like, does hentai make young men like aggressive? Does it make them like a little more salty and like?
I'm
just
gonna go
because
ahead
like,
and say
this all
no.
relates to like with the anime pics. I'm gonna assume that if you have an anime pic, you also are into hentai. Like, just gonna
That's-
throw that out there.
Not a fair assumption,
You don't
I
think?
think. No.
I think so. If you're gonna be obsessed enough with anime to use it as your pick, I feel like you're also into hentai.
Okay, if you do the study, I will read your study.
Okay.
But I do the study before we assume things about these people. You might be right, though. Let's move on because it's time to get to some crowd control. Now, a lot of people think Smash Bros. Is the greatest crossover fighting game ever, but if VL Stetson's dream comes true, I think Smash can be one-upped. It's called the Confrontation Universe. This is a crossover I'd love to see. Marvel, DC, Mortal Kombat, and a bunch of others. Can I point out that Neo would be in that too?
Whoa.
I would love to see. I know, nothing funny. This is just serious. I saw this and I'm like, I need this game.
Dude.
Who are you adding to the roster?
Well, the thing is, she's already there because Wonder Woman would be there with the
She
DC
would be,
universe.
yeah. But if there's another universe you could add into this.
And Animal Crossing.
No, they're already in Smash. You can't use Animal Crossing.
So why can't Smash be in this too?
Huh?
Why can't Smash be in that too?
That'd be the ultimate. Oh my God, that is like crossover of crossovers.
It's a crossover.
All right, let's get the licensing deals. Let's make the game.
100. Sign up to our Patreon and we'll make it happen. Sometimes horrific things happen in games that aren't meant to induce scares. This next post is going to make you jump out of your skin.
Quite literally.
Oh,
Where's that? I just wanted to see.
I don't want this. Oh my, no. Brody, why do you do this to me? Seriously? No, this
is better. It's so freaky, dude. Where is it?
What's going on underneath there? Oh, that's the paw.
That's the whole skin is detached from. I think it's a byproduct of the skin. Look at that. It looks like something out of Half-Life.
That is so.
Do you want one of those?
Yo, that's next level design though. They made that kitty in layers.
I think it's because of the skinning thing that you can do. Yeah, you can get pelts and stuff.
For sure, but I literally just saw a cat today walking away with a little bunny in its mouth, like murder in its mouth, ready to digest, and that in itself grossed me out. And I have this, and I'm just picturing the little bunny getting skinned. Oh, it's awful.
It's all about murder. Today is all about murder. Fine, you know what? I will chill it out for our last post. It's a little nicer. I just want to show you guys the newest update for Rocket League.
Oh.
Okay, so I would play a game like that, but now that I'm thinking, I'd actually want to see that IRL. Like, I actually want to see that happen, like a bunch of dudes flying on drones, running into each other and stuff. I use dudes as a collective for everybody. It can be anybody. But yeah, a bunch of people up in the air fighting and battling with those things. Like you got limbs flying off because blades are cutting people apart.
It's basically like Quidditch, but the only way we could probably play Quidditch IRL. And I would love to try something like that. Are you kidding me? Like we'd all be Green Goblin. It'd be incredible.
I actually would not want to put you on one of those because I've seen you try to do a kickflip on a skateboard.
Yeah, but I could ride a longboard. Cause I wouldn't do tricks on that, but I would just ride it as a regular longboard.
I just see her running out of control, flying everywhere.
No, I think it would be good. I think it would
Can we get one of these? What's our budget?
Yeah, so sign up for a Patreon and we'll just make that happen. Listen, that's it for Unmuted. Remember, you can hit us up always on our socials. Just say hi and send us some stuff to react to. Someone type in ! socials right now in chat for all the channels. We'll see you next time.
Oh wait, can you just leave it and then he never throws anything?
And then he doesn't throw things at you? That's actually genius.
No!
I think you have to mostly just concentrate on not getting hit.
Working on it.
But you should get that mushroom. Oh, never mind.
What kind? Well, I've never seen that happen in this game before in my life.
It launches.
What is that?
You can also do that to that guy in the tube.
Matt's back with a vengeance.
Revenge!
Yo, you can kill the guy throwing these things too.
That's the plan, baby.
Oh no. Why?
I'm done. I'm done.
You need to just keep moving forward.
Oh!
Oh my god, they're playing Super Mario World in the green room. That's actually the first game I ever played, so it brings back so many good memories. Now, in a bit, Nick and Brody will be calling up Lawler to talk about Rocket League because so many things have been happening in our LCS with promo relegation. But first, it's time for me to get you caught up with the news. Toronto Defiance substitute DPS player Asher has retired from professional Overwatch. He joined the Defiance before the start of Season 2 and only played a single match with the team back in April. Asher is much better known for his time on the Los Angeles Gladiators in Season 1, where he earned a reputation for being a skilled flex DPS. In his retirement announcement, Asher thanked both the Defiant and OWL fans for supporting him, though he didn't say what he plans to do next. In any case, enjoy your retirement, Asher. Pawn, the star mid laner for Kingzone Dragon X, will be taking the 2019 summer split off due to health reasons. According to the team, Pawn's health deteriorated over the spring postseason, and both he and Kingzone decided to let him recover during the upcoming split. Kingzone finished the spring split in 3rd place, and Pawn himself had a pretty good season despite missing 3 games. Substitute mid laner Nahyun will likely fill in for Pawn while he's away, but considering he hasn't played particularly well, Kingzone might opt to sign a new mid instead. The International 2019 will be held in Shanghai this year, and tickets went on sale on May 24th. Unsurprisingly, they sold out very quickly. How fast exactly? Newly released data from the tournament's ticketing platform, Damai, shows that tickets for TI9 sold out in 53 seconds. That's ridiculously fast, but tickets for the grand finals sold out even faster, taking all of 27 seconds to sell out. This is the first year that TI will take place in China, so fans are understandably very excited to attend. If you want to try and pick up tickets on resale, good luck, because the average price for a 2-day ticket is over $2,000 US. In today's strange video game news, heavy metal band Iron Maiden is suing publisher 3D Realms over its upcoming retro shooter, Ion Maiden. The band, or at least its holding company, claims that the game's logo and marketing are being used in an effort to, quote, confuse customers into believing that the band and the game are related. Iron Maiden is seeking $2 million US in the lawsuit and wants the game's website either shut down or handed over to them. When your game is missing a single letter from a very famous band and uses a similar logo style, you may want to check with your legal department to make sure stuff like this doesn't happen.
Still manages to get the job done. Here comes Tadpole now through the air. See if he can set up a teammate or get it in by himself. No way. Looks for the dunk in the air. Justin coming off the ceiling, falls down, still got the flip. It off the ground and in.
What's up, people, and welcome to Esports in 30. I'm super hyped to have you because today we're spending the next half an hour talking about Rocket League. I'm Brody Moore, and this is Nick Doucette, and my goodness, did this weekend of promo relegation pop up? And Nick, I know that you're a little bit smug right now.
We don't have it on camera anywhere, but no evidence of this, but off camera, Brody and I were talking about this heading into this one, and I predicted 4 out of 4, and Brody said there was no way. Well, guess what, Brody?
Well, it wasn't 4 out of 4, you were almost right.
I was more right than you.
Let's not talk about that, because I know I was there and you were watching, but are we really enough to break all this down?
Probably not.
I didn't think so either. So right after these highlights, I think we should bring in my buddy Lawler to help us out.
That clear, critical for buying time. Now on the attack, and Gyro, and gets the corner boost steal as well. And gets the chance for Reynolds. Oh my goodness!
Evil Geniuses still hunting. Trippe against the back wall. Corrupted G.
Oh no!
Evil Geniuses take game 1. A bit close. Karma picks it up around the back wall, looking for J-Wiz. J-Wiz shoots, and Karma scores on the dunk. Corrupted G is there. Knows Dude can't get back to the ball. Killed by Classics. J-Wiz flies in from midfield around the corner, bounces it off the ramp. Karma scores. Splice take the lead. Trying to kill the ball against Arsenal. Failing in his endeavor is Reynolds back over to Arsenal, looking for Gyro. That shot, oh, Gyro!
And a great touch there from Reynolds to keep the play at least a little bit dangerous, to force the defense to respond. That's exactly what Mist did, but a touch back out to Arsenal. Look at the passing play from the Peeps. It goes in for them.
And the Peeps are your new RLCS team in North America. You'll see them next season in RLCS Season 8.
Low boost, but she's making the most of it. Keeps control of the ball, gets the corner boost, going for an incredible play.
You're joking? Oh, no!
He saves it.
Oh, heartbreak.
Birds and Bees getting a demo here from Mist. Hawkster, the delay! The rival series come into today and absolutely dominate. The Peeps are in RLCS, and now the Birds and the Bees join them.
It was an all-rivals affair, and North America's the Peeps and the Birds and the Bees booked their spot in Season 8. Unfortunately for Splice and Evil Geniuses, it's better luck next season as they are sent to the Rival Series. Now that is a lot to process, and frankly I might freak out a little bit without the help of my desk partner Adam Lawler Thornton. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. Can't get it up to me, can you?
No, I need more. I can't stop. Are you sick of me is the question here, but
we'll figure that out later.
Yeah. Can we wrap our heads around this real quick?
Yeah, I was feeling pretty smug because I thought the rival series were going to make it through, particularly North America, but I didn't expect the Peeps, for example, to be as dominant as they were, particularly on offense. Of the 11 games they played, like 6, they had 3 goals or more, and all of their wins against the Birds and the Bees, they had like tons of goals. I was a little bit caught off guard considering the second seed. Lawler, were you caught off guard by just how explosive the offense of this team was?
Not at all. Which sounds kind of arrogant, but if you watched their performance last week at Dreamhack for their qualifiers for Dallas, I mean, they beat 5 RLCS teams there, and it was just the momentum kept going, which is fantastic for them. So coming in, we all knew they were a pretty high favorite, even though Birds and the Bees was the team that went 7-0. The Peeps have always been a fan favorite. They've always been someone pretty much everybody's cheered for and just kind of waited for their time to come. And the fact that they qualified this time, I don't think was too shocking. Plus, no offense to the RLCS teams, we weren't too convinced with them. So I think it was just a matter of time for Peeps.
It's tough though because it's before the promotion tournament happens. You know, you see those RLCS teams at the bottom of the barrel, but they were playing the best of the best. Whereas Birds and the Bees and Peeps were playing maybe some newcomers even into that league during that league play. So were you ever questioning maybe the consistency? I mean, the Peeps, sure, they did good the week before, but a lot of times we've seen that fall apart for these teams the week after.
Yeah, you always, I mean, that's kind of the one thing you really want to look for in Rocket League, especially when you're analyzing teams, is how consistent are these things happening. And just by watching the Peeps, like, you can see their play style and what they were doing on paper was going to work no matter what teams they played, as long as they did them at a high level, because speed is always the one thing that we question. Can they keep up that momentum and that speed even against other teams that may have better defenses? Now, if you put Peeps up against a team like NRG, they get smacked because it's NRG, but relatively against any of the other teams, they're pretty competitive, and you're starting to see that trend for any rival series team. You're talking 9 out of 12 teams have promoted from the rival series over the course of since season 4. So it's becoming more of a thing. And then you look at how they're performing now in the RLCS. You're looking at FlyQuest, that is now Rogue. They're going to LAN after 1 season of the RLCS. Barcelona, even though they kind of cheat the system, has an auto bid going in. You're looking at all these other teams. So it's becoming more of a trend that the RLRS teams, more than likely, are more competitive than the RLCS teams. So it's pretty exciting to see.
Well, let's talk about the other team that did have a really good record, and then weren't as convincing, but did make it in. Birds and the Bees. They kind of had Splice's number.
I was looking at this, and they overcame 2 game deficits against Splice twice in both the series they played. And for a lot, do you think that that's kind of like a sign that teams maybe like has like a level of maturity that you don't see maybe in other RLRS teams, where they can overcome big deficits against teams?
I mean this in the nicest way because I love all those players. It was more of a thing of Splice than it was a thing of Birds and Bees. Splice has not had a good season. Simply put, they came in week 1 and we saw flashes of like, okay, there's potential. We can see that these guys are capable of being an RLCS team. But throughout the season, you saw the glaring issues that Karma needs help, and she can't be expected to go off every single week in order for them to win. And despite her playing out of her mind again in the promotion tournament, for those that do remember when they promoted, she was the MVP of that week. She played again that caliber of play. She played really, really well, but when you don't have help in this day and age, you falter. The fact that they brought it as far as they did just shows the potential of that team. And no doubts to Birds and Bees, like they still had to show up, they still had to play as a team, and they did. But I think a lot of it really comes to Splice. Splice just needs help. There has to be a roster change in order for that team to be successful.
That makes me question then what you think about the Birds and Bees going into the RLCS during next season. I mean, like if you think that it wasn't simply just a case of them being better than Splice, it was Splice beating themselves up, do you think Birds and the Bees really have any kind of chance going into the next season? Because there are a lot of good teams now in the North American RLCS.
Yeah, I think there's always a chance, right? Like you've put yourself in a position to go 7-0 in the RLRS, give yourself a #1 seed, and then basically prove that, yeah, you can compete against some of these teams. But yes, it is one of the lower level RLCS teams. Am I worried for Birds and the Bees more than the Peeps? Of course. I think they are going to be one of the weakest teams, but to their benefit, the next season isn't for months. You know, there's a lot of time to be able to scrim against these players. They've now automatically been promoted to rank X in the 6-man's group. So there is a lot of opportunities for these guys to really grind it out and continue. And who knows, maybe they do pick up one of the teams or players. Like Drippe, probably going to be a free agent. I could expect if EG lets him go, he'll be a good pickup. Same thing with Splice. Karma's still a good player. So we always see roster teams or players even migrate from the teams that promote. I mean, look at Justin. Justin came in with Out of Style back in the day and was the reason they made it. No offense to Lachinio and his teammate, but he got snagged up and then that team fell apart. So there's always that potential that they either pick up a new player or otherwise. I hope they stay together because they made it together, but there's a lot of time in between now and then, between all the dream hacks and everything else, that they're going to be able to grind and hopefully bring their team to that next level.
Well, Nick, I know you got some more points on Splice too, but I'm still kind of curious now about the state of the RLCS now that we have those two new, the Birds and the Bees and the Peeps. And is this kind of the best we've ever seen the rival teams? I mean, we've seen in the past a lot, some teams always going 1-6 or 0-7. And Splice even this season was that. Do you think that these two teams have way better potential to have a better record than we've ever seen in NA RLCS?
Peeps, most definitely.
But are we going to have another situation with Birds and the Bees going 0-7?
Yeah, that would be unfortunate.
It's tough, man. It's I think NA is still pretty heavily solidified with your top three. Space Station making a pretty good argument for them to be in that top 4. A lot of people actually believe that they're a better pick than G2 right now for top 3. But I think the fact that the conversation is even happening is what leads to what you're saying is, yeah, it is the most competitive we've ever seen, but I still think that NA usually has one team that's weaker than the rest, and it's pretty glaring. I think right now that is Birds and the Bees. And it's hard to argue. But does that mean they can't step up? Like I said,
there's time.
3-4 months is a lot of time for these teams to play. And maybe we all of a sudden see them shock the world. Like we don't know. It's too early to tell. But that's kind of the exciting part, is going into next season. I know you and I are going to both be on the desk and be like, okay, what's happened to these guys over the next 3 months? Let's find out.
Yeah, we get to see it unfold.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, a team that has a lot of questions to answer in those next few months is, of course, Evil Geniuses. You touched on Drippe. Has to be absolutely gutted.
Oh, you saw his tweet.
Yeah,
man, he was just
devastated. Coming over from Australia and getting relegated. The offense was just basically non-existent, especially in the last series against Splice. So the question now is, they're going to Dreamhack, but after Dreamhack, like, where does this team go from here?
Hopefully not home. I want Drippe to stay with us as long as possible, but it's tough. I don't know enough about behind the scenes with that team. It's one of the few teams that I actually don't get to talk to other than the players or the coach themselves. But from the sounds of it, they're still in support of their team. I think they're still going to take a season in the RLRS, figure their issues, or a possible roster change. I honestly believe that team has always had an issue with the roster, and Drippe just further exemplifies that with his playstyle. I don't think fits currently with Classics and Corrupted G. I think something has to change, whether it be a roster or him in general changing his playstyle, which is always really tough as well, considering I think he is what EG wants to build a roster around, because to my opinion, he is the best player on the team.
Yeah.
We just haven't seen the team work as a unit. It's still pretty convoluted based upon what they're trying to accomplish, whether it be Drippe bringing in this more pass-heavy, centered, inside touch-centric kind of offense, while the other two are just kind of a hit and chase, or it's really weird. So I know that there needs to be some help. I know Fireworks is probably on top of it already, their coach. But something's got to give. Something on the team has to change.
I mean, it seems like, it's unfortunate that they had a season to try and figure it out, and this is where it ended up. Now, you kind of mentioned briefly that teams might be looking at your Karmas or your Drip Pays. Just off the top of your head here, before we move on from North America, what teams do you think might be looking at players like this to potentially pick up and make changes? Like, where would they go in the landscape of the RLCS right
now? Probably the best suited would be Drip Pay to Ghost, even though they already have too much offense. But I do like that Drip Pay can play defensive as well. It's just the difficulty, I think, is he's challenging himself knowing that he needs to move upfield and he needs to create opportunities, but he's stuck on defense, and it creates this lackluster defense from what we saw. But I mean, you take him and you put him on a team like Ghost, where you've seen what Memory and Lethmere can do on offense, and it's pretty excellent. And all of a sudden you add in this more solidified player, because I mean, back when Rocket League started, all the third man roles were your guys that were the best when it came mechanically, because they were consistent. They didn't make mistakes. They can make something out of nothing. And you see what it does for energy with a player like Justin, is when they're in a troublesome spot, he uses his mechanics and his creativity to get out of those positions and then set up his teammates. Imagine if you have this Lethmere, yeah, I said it right. I almost said Memory and Lethmere at the same time. But Lethmere and Memory, and they're creating these passing opportunities in this offensive powerhouse, and you still have Drip A and back to clean it up if need be.
Right.
I think it's an opportunity, but out of any of the other teams, I don't know if you swap. Why would you?
I guess we'll find out. We'll see if they stick with it. I mean, they've still got Dreamhack ahead, so we'll see if they can stick it out there. But all right, dude, that pretty much covers NA right now. But Europe was equally as dramatic, if not more so. We're going to take a quick sec to gather our thoughts while you check out these highlights.
Just forced Flakes off that ball, but it doesn't matter. The pickup from Mystic just too slow, and now here comes Complexity again.
Oh, and Greasy has the shot. Complexity! They were still competitive, and Greasy takes us off the corner almost uncontested. Magnus has the shot. This goes in for Complexity. The bricks, it's a whirlpool of disaster.
Again, another pass across for Mousesports. That one cut down by Veloce. It's just one. Oh, what?
Freaky!
We saw it yesterday. Tigray.
Veloce on the press, waste more time off the clock a lot. Back to Tigray, bumped out of the way, and now the shot is open, and Veloce!
Alex, now on the other end, gets his flip off the ceiling, gets a dunk off the post, bouncing out in Mystic. Hits the ball to safety. Alex with the dunk, and he dunked it again!
He did it!
The ball goes nowhere. Bricks on the counterattack. Center ball, speed's there!
And Flakes has been so scary for Complexity a couple times now, even in this game alone, that he's able to find himself above the net with the ball coming back now a third time. Can he get a second touch? He does! Knocks it down for Flakes, and Complexity up by 2.
Double commit, and the miss from Flame, and that is it! Complexity sweep their through to the RLCS.
Veloce want this. They need a miracle on the kickoff. They might get that.
Oh, there it is.
Niels off the backboard, racing for it.
Oh, you're joking.
Unbelievable. You disgusting, monstrous piece of filth. The bricks hang on. Cuxir 97 retains his spot in the RLCS. Welcome back.
In a stunning display, Complexity made like their new logo and shined like the stars as they advanced to the RLCS. Not so much for Mousesports and Veloce, who took a tumble as Cuxir and the Bricks saved themselves from relegation. Back on the couch, still with Lawler, and holy crap, was Europe ever tense, my dude.
Yeah, I know you're a little biased towards it, and it's fine because he's the OG. Cuxer's still in the RLCS. Everything is okay.
It's safe. It's okay, guys. You can breathe.
I could barely imagine a world where Cuxir was relegated. Like, my mind just did not compute with this thought.
Yeah, I know. Did it ever cross your mind that maybe he wasn't going to make it? And, like, what was the factor that caused you to think that, Lawler, if so?
When they got smashed by Complexity in their first game of the day. Yeah, I was a little worried. We haven't seen them really bounce back from anything this season, so it's just that's what Cuxer does, man. He goes to break your heart and then saves it at the last second. So congrats to Bricks. Glad to see him back.
I was about to say, Cuxer felt like he was playing pretty well. I actually thought that Speed was one of the players that really stepped it up this year. He had some nice solo plays. He was really playing like the man we saw when they won WSOE.
Can he keep it up is the question, though. Like, we know that this man can do it, but like throughout the season, it wasn't that clear that he was going to.
Yeah, there was a lot of issues throughout the season. It's just, I mean, they started off rough. I mean, you look at the difference between what would have happened if he wasn't in Florida for that first week. Yeah. So Yeah, and for the general public that doesn't know, I mean, Speed was in Orlando, Florida. They had a vacation that they planned many months ago that he couldn't avoid, and it just happened to fall in the first week of RLCS. And he comes in, he's playing on a laptop with quite a bit of ping, and they lose to Triple Trouble, a team that a lot of us expected them to beat convincingly. And because of that one loss, that was the difference between them being in playoffs and them being in the promotion relegation tournament. So a lot can change. It just goes to show the importance of each week. So that game went to 5 and was extremely close.
Well, let's talk about one of the teams that did make it in. Complexity. Like, I actually didn't have Complexity possibly making it in. People on Twitter, definitely in the poll I put out, were saying yes, but they did, and they popped off. Like, Flakes, though, it was like just an absolute madman.
Yeah, similar situation to North America, where the best seeded team is the one that actually comes out the most convincing. In NA it was Peeps, and EU it was Complexity, and you can see it in their play style. Huge list of veteran talent. The addition of Flakes, though, really brings it together. I know you mentioned while we were on the show about how the last time we saw Greasy, he did not look like he was up to par. It looked like he was playing seasons past, just in speed and decision making. But Flakes has really tied that team together and had a MVP caliber weekend. I mean, he took MVP title for that weekend, and rightfully so. It's just what he does for that team relieves a lot of pressure from the other two. It allows them to get that little bit of extra time to put themselves in a better position for success. But the fact that they overran the other teams as convincingly as they did just shows how motivated and how much they've been working. It's one thing to be a pro player and then get knocked down and then have seasons to basically try to come back. It's a motivating factor for these players that have tasted victory. I mean, Greasy's a freaking world champion, for Christ's sake. So there's got to be something in the tank.
But it feels like it was a different era,
man,
maybe.
you know that feeling. You know that they're grinding harder than they ever have. Like, there's a new focus that they're putting in to basically get back, and it shows. They look really good right now.
The question is, though, you know, like Magnus mentioned, that like they're basing their play style around Flakes and just allowing him to have those opportunities. You know, do you think that's going to last, though, up in the RLCS, or do you think they're going to have to adjust that play style?
A lot of pressure to put
do
on
a little
one
more
person.
Three-man,
Yeah, it's scary. The harsh reality of it is if Flakes isn't playing well, then it doesn't work, right? Like, you are, like Nick said, putting all of your cards in Flakes. And Flakes is a fantastic player. He's definitely a highlight player. But if things falter with him, then it's going to be relying on the other two stepping up and Flakes taking more of a backseat, which I don't think that's something they've had to face yet. So hopefully it never gets to that, but it is something to consider because not everybody plays perfect. People have off days. So you're further exemplifying that when you're coming up against even harder teams. When a team like Vitality is up against you and they're super fast aggressive, you're going to see them exploit some of these weaknesses. So I think those are great moments, though, because it's kind of a reality check to Complexity where they're like, okay, we do have glaring issues, and it only makes them better, right? So
I guess we'll find out when the season starts.
I want to bring it to our other RS team, because Veloce, one of the things that Corelli was talking a lot about is that we didn't quite see the same team that he was casting when they were in the RLRS. You mentioned that, you know, these veterans were hungry, and I imagine the Freaky was super hungry to prove everybody wrong about him, and unfortunately they didn't quite get there. So what was Brody was suggesting to me, maybe it was a little bit of nerves. What was your read on what held Veloce back in this situation?
And this is the third time it's happened that they find themselves in the promotion relegation tournament. So they dropped down 2 seasons ago when they were secret after the worst season in RLCS. Yeah, it's the worst performing roster in RLCS history with like a negative 18 game differential. It's not good. So they dropped down, and they've been to this position the previous season as well and just fall short. So for some reason, when everything's on the line and when it matters most, Veloce has fallen short. I don't know if it's a mental block, similar situation to someone like Fruity when they were getting reverse swept, or what it is, just closing up that series. I think it's one of those scenarios to where until they do it and get over that hurdle, it's going to continue to happen.
Yeah,
it's either
you come into that weekend with like that mental block, knowing that maybe it failed before. It's like it's gonna get at you, and you're gonna slow down.
It sticks with you, man. It sticks with you. I mean, I tweeted it a couple times. Like, this is the most stressful environment for any pro in Rocket League. All the pros say it. All the coaches say it. Anybody who's been involved in the pro scene absolutely knows it. Like, it's one thing for the RLCS teams that are having a rough season to drop down and have to face the fact that we could lose our org, we could possibly no longer get paid a real salary. Like, I survive on this. Like, if I don't get this, I'm done. And then you have these other teams that have had a fantastic season, put themselves in a position to move in and pretty much change their entire lives. That is a lot of pressure as well. So it goes both ways. And for a lot of the guys having to live up to that expectation, it's not an easy thing, and that's not to discredit. I mean, a lot of people give these teams a hard time after they drop or relegate or whatever it is, but that's when they need the support the most. So, I'm here to say, like, give these guys a round of applause. They had a fantastic season, and they put themselves in a position, and they fell short by a game.
Yeah,
like, even though they weren't performing their best, they still went to 7 against Bricks.
No.
Yeah, this brings up a question that I've been, asking a lot about, and we talk a lot about a lot of different esports on this show, and some of them have actually removed promotion relegation, and promotion relegation is still a core part of the RLCS, but it's only been like, what, 3 years in the RLCS?
Yeah, we're on 7 seasons now, 3 years, and it's we introduced the promo relegation a few seasons in.
Yeah, so you said it's a lot of pressure, it's a lot of stress. Is promotion relegation healthy for Rocket League right now, or do you see a future where it just doesn't exist anymore?
It needs to exist. How are we supposed? So the RLRS as a system is fantastic.
Because how many new talent we got?
Yeah, look at the talent that has been breeded from that system. Even if they're promoting up, it's allowing us to find new talent and basically allow them a place and a chance to prove themselves. Because you look at all the big names, Justin being probably the most notable. He was bred from that system. Ignite, same situation for TSM, and now he's on one of the most prolific rosters and orgs in esports history. So I think it's super important, and to me, as a player, those stresses are only going to keep happening in your career. There's always going to be moments where you come up at adversity, and you have to try to face that, whether it be on a live stage in front of thousands of people or otherwise. So for us to get rid of it just because it's a really stressful environment, I think is silly because of what it promotes. And at any point, like, there's going to be times where you need to prove yourself against the worst teams in RLCS, if you phrase it that way. These were the worst teams, and if you can't beat the worst teams that were this season, what makes you think you're going to be able to compete against the best teams? Like, I don't want to waste my time.
It helps with complacency, I suppose, as well, with the RLCS teams, knowing that there is a chance for that stressful situation.
There's people gunning for them. It should motivate them to play even harder. I mean, all these teams that just promoted need to realize that their career is now just starting. Like, they finally got themselves to a position where you are truly a pro, and you're now playing in the RLCS, the most prolific or the most highlight-worthy place for your career. Now the grind really begins. You have to put in more work than you've ever put in before to not only prove that it wasn't a mistake, but also earn your spot and keep your spot. That's not an easy thing to do.
Yep. Now, if you're asking about just the amount of talent that we've seen.
Yeah, so one of the things that I've noticed in other esports is, like, as the esports goes more and more years, there's less and less talent coming up from those lower levels. But Rocket League doesn't seem to have that problem, as you mentioned, like your Justins and your Flakes and last season, like your Alphas who won EU MVP. Every season it seems that we have a new player that's just incredible. So how much talent do we actually have yet to see in Rocket League, in your opinion?
I mean, you look at some of these teams that are playing in Dreamhack qualifiers where the kids are 13, 14. And they're like the new coming of Scrub Killer, and there's 3 of them on one team. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think Rocket League doesn't follow suit into some of those other games for 2 reasons. One, it is brand new. None of the mechanics you learned as a kid, none of the things in intuition that you learned from FPS, it doesn't translate. It's never happened before. The only ones that have are SART vets from the original game, the predecessor, and they're already retiring, or there's only like 3 or 4 of them left. Scrub now is the youngest and just getting his start a season and a half ago, roughly. So the fact that you're inspiring this younger generation to now see this game they've never seen before, and the reach is still happening with the Epic Games acquisition. Who knows how many of those younger kids that play Fortnite are going to hop on the train, and all of a sudden we see all this influx of play. Like, we just don't know. FPS has been around for a long time. Rocket League has not.
That's
exciting,
true,
man.
Yeah,
super exciting.
I love it. Rocket League's only going to get better and better. Lawler, unfortunately, we're out of time, but thank you so much for calling in and sharing your thoughts and feelings with us. Let's chat soon, eh?
Yeah, always a pleasure. Appreciate you guys having me.
Okay, Brody, I have a question for you to put all of this promo tournament talk, a little bow on it. Who was your MVP? Now, I know we had one from NA and one from you on the broadcast, but overall.
Well, it's going to line up with what we do on the show, on the RLCS, because we all vote. It's a democracy over there, right? So we all...
You're not the desk dictator.
Yeah, right? I just get to move conversation. I don't get to tell who the MVP is. But Flakes, for sure.
He was incredible.
Yeah, I have to put Flakes above everybody else. I mean, like the fact that Magnus, just a madman himself on the field, puts all of his eggs into trusting Flakes and says, our game plan is to let Flakes do whatever he wants to do.
And complexity of their games were not close. Their games were convincing dunks the whole way through. So
I still question whether going into the RLCS that's going to work a lot. If you shut down Flakes, or if he just has a bad week, as Lawler was mentioning, then that whole system could fall apart. But Flakes, man, this guy popped off. Reynolds was another one that was really close, but I do feel like he was getting a lot of help from Arsenal as well, right?
Okay.
So
Flakes it is.
Yeah, Flakes for sure.
All right. So next up this coming weekend, we've got Dreamhack Dallas. I saw a bunch of tweets. All the players are flying there. What's really cool about this tournament, and I think with a lot of the Dreamhacks, is we're kind of getting like a little bit of a pre-RLCS finals test LAN, and also we're going to see some of the newly promoted teams play against each other and some play against some of their future RLCS competitions. So, and also I should mention, Group B is ridiculously stacked.
Yeah.
It's got like, you look at all the groups and you're like, yeah, okay, this one looks fine. And it's like NRG, EG,
Dig.
Splice, Dig, Renegades, all in one group. So, Brody, quick thoughts on Dreamhack.
For me, it was like, whenever I watch other esports like CSGO and that, and I saw so many events happening for them, I'm like, don't you just get tired of seeing the same teams play over and over? And it's like, I'm like, I like, RLCS is just, it's primo. Like, this is the time you get to see it and it adds more to it. But now that the Dreamhacks are happening, I'm actually getting really hyped for them because it gives us more history and story, right?
Like history. So it's a LAN too, because RLCS is online, which makes a difference. Makes a huge difference.
Huge. Yeah. So it's not like you're just seeing these teams play online, like from their rooms. You're actually seeing actual experience, and this is history you can now bring to the RLCS. So this is super exciting. The biggest thing for me is going to be seeing like the orgs like EG and that, this is a big question mark for those players.
I think this is the last chance saloon for your Splices and your EGs.
You're trying to prove now to this org, hey, don't drop us, don't go take another team.
We saw Rogue, the roster.
Yeah, because Rogue did this. They lost the roster as soon as they dropped the rivals and took a team up in the RLCS, took over FlyQuest roster. So that could happen for EG as well. With 2 unsigned teams in there now. So this is a chance for like Drippy and them to show, okay, no, and especially for Corrupted G and Classics to say, we're still good. It was just that weekend, guys. Like, trust us, it was just that weekend. Let us prove to you here. So I think if they can do that, they can, they have a real chance of keeping their org in that.
I think I'm most excited to watch. We've got 2 OC teams. We've got no LATAM teams, unfortunately, at Dallas, but we do have 2 OC teams. We've got, Icon and Renegades. Yeah. And Renegades is at LAN.
Well, I'm glad to see Icon, because they didn't make it to
We got CJ on at A LAN.
That's all that matters. And that's...
I'm excited to see how they stack up, because it's going to be a real big litmus test, I'd say, for these teams heading into RLCS.
Yeah, well, we mentioned it a few weeks ago on the show, is that I said I was kind of worried about that region, especially taking Drippy out of there, one of their star players, and now you have, of course, almost all the Chiefs just gone and disbanded and switched up. So that was the one team that seemed to be able to compete at the world stage, but now it's all just kind of spread out. Now I think maybe we're actually getting a situation where it's good. Like, the talent's spreading out and it's making the whole region better. I was worried that all the teams were going to be subpar, but now we get to see that. We get to see if, okay, are you guys actually just spreading the talent out?
I wasn't super hyped going into the Dreamhack before RLCS, but with the RLCS behind us now, I'm really excited for this one.
I'm stoked, but that is all the time that we have for today. I'm so ready for Dreamhack, and we'll be talking all about it next week. Until then, we got FPS Friday tomorrow, as well as Unmuted, so you don't want to miss that. Type socials in the chat and tweet at me letting you know what you think about Dreamhack. We'll see you later.
The question is, can we have too much Lawler? You guys answered it, right? Because it's no, we can never have too much. All right, that's it from us tonight. Thank you, Red Bull, for fueling us in the green room. And remember, we'll be back tomorrow in the green room playing more games at 1 p.m. Eastern time, and then back that night with the brand new Unmuted and in Esports in 30, we're talking about CSGO, so you don't want to miss that one. Until then, you can catch us on all our socials. We'll see you tomorrow.